The global corona conflict has rammed people into trenches. Invisible, lethal, viral weapons have replaced visible whistling bullets and thunderous bombs. As we don't know who is calling the shots, it is difficult to tell how we can call a truce with imperceptible enemies. What do they hide behind their dirty aprons? Eric Pevenage. Those who are resisting quarantine are not advocating for life free or die. They are advocating, I must have my freedom even if it means harming others. Remember, if your freedom comes at the cost of other people's lives, then that's not freedom, it's savagery. Epidemic. If the world after coronavirus is not going to be a much more greener, much more environmentally friendly, and much more vegetarian world, human beings will deserve a much worse virus than coronavirus. Mehmet Murat Ilden. God is not up there, God is right here in you, in me, in each one of us. Epidemic. Disregard the coronavirus as you would a cannibal kissing your face. Kevin Ansbro. We are on a test. We are on a trial. We suffer, we lose, but we don't see the truth. What wrong have we done that we cannot even see the danger ahead of us? What sin have we committed that we have lost our sight? We are running towards our destruction, away from Allah. We are not seeing the signs. Why are we so blind? We are not realizing. Why are we so lost? Why are we not able to ask for mercy even in the times of a lockdown? We are desperate, yet we are fools. We are vulnerable, yet confused. Why can't we say goodbye to the wrong and choose the right for our love for Allah? Miran W. Malik. The world is mine, its problems are mine. Epidemic. This pandemic is world reset. We have a chance to change the world. What it has proven is no matter what your politics, no matter what your religion, no matter what your job status, we are all brother and sister in the world together. Human kindness has come out in so many ways. Can't buy a mask, people make it for you. Don't have food, let me drop some off at your porch. Love is all around you. All you have to do is look. I think the world need a hippie right now, and I am going to be a tad optimistic. Some advice from the original hippie. Love thy neighbor as yourself. Let's have that as the new rule in this world reset. Johnny Corn. Unlike our politicians and our religions, the current coronavirus pandemic has managed to make us care about the health of even those we hate, especially those we are likely to come across. Mokakoma Mokanoana. In times of global crisis like this, where human lives are in peril due to the exponential spread of the pandemic, each citizen should be morally and socially responsible by observing the laws and policies of any government for the common good of the society. Those who keep on criticizing the efforts of their government to contain the virus, who contribute nothing but their bickering and stupid opinions, should take matters in their own hands by volunteering at the front lines. And such, morally and ethically, is an ideal and heroic act for the highest good of the society. Danny Caslone's Salada. The coronavirus pandemic will show us something embarrassing that we have known for centuries in human history. The dead will be forgotten quickly, and those who live will just start celebrations, because they will live only a little longer. Mehmet Murat Ilden. We have to take care of the cure that will make the problem worse no matter what. Joe Biden. In times of this corona pandemic, people often ask when the world will return to its normal days. Don't wait for normal days. Assume that abnormal days are normal days. Today's abnormal normal is now our new normal. The world may not return to its old days, The smart person is the person who adapts to the changing world. All days are normal as long as you adjust yourself to the changes, no matter how dramatic these changes are. Mehmet Murat Ilden. A lack of COVID-19 personal protective equipment (PPE) is burying our healthcare heroes. Stephen McGee. A wave of chronically ill and slow-healing survivors is an inevitability we can and must prepare ourselves for. Darkness and confusion have characterized much of the past month, and certainly define the experience of being sick with coronavirus. I can tell you that firsthand. Let's not let misinformation and isolation define how we heal. Fiona Lowenstein. Arrogant humanity always thinks that among all living beings only humans can write a sensational story in the world. But here's a nano-organism called coronavirus, just like other microorganisms of the past, proved the opposite of this. Mehmet Murat Ilden. My life is your crutch. Abhijit Naskar. Sacrifice is infectious. One person's sacrifice makes millions wake up from their sleep of indifference, and in a handful of brave and responsible beings it is bound to spark the urge to sacrifice their own life force for the good of others. Abhijit Naskar. It can feel heavy with longing, and heavy with longing, in my mind, is preferable to hollow, which one also feels. If I'm heavy with longing, at least I have some idea of what I want. Robert Pinsky. Seeing your own country in the darkness does not scare you very much, because knowing that there is light elsewhere makes you comfortable. But it is scary to see the world in the darkness, because there is no light wherever you go. You have nowhere to escape. Mehmet Murat Ilden. What we do today will define tomorrow. Layla Gayakita. Helping those in need is not charity, it's humanity. Abhijit Naskar. The most important thing that the coronavirus teaches humanity is this. Let's not exaggerate the level that our civilization has reached. It is a great arrogance to see ourselves so great. And here is a little virus reminded us of this. Mehmet Murat Ilden. Crisis either causes regress or progress depending on the will of the people. Abhijit Naskar. Protecting the elderly, keeping them alive is keeping our memories alive in real life. It is to keep our past literally in today's time. Mehmet Murat Ilden. TUMPEMICVS pandemic. The world is in crisis and few people would argue with that. People have lost their source of income. People have been left with no money. People have been left homeless by unkind landlords who only care about greed. People have been left with insufficient food and water. People have been left alone to die without anyone to hold their hand or say goodbye. People have been left to try and make do as best that they can. Yet, one politician seems to have made the pandemic more about himself than those who he is supposed to serve and protect. All that I can say is that at times like this we will see the best and worst in people. You be the judge. Anthony T. Hinks. I will always give you hope. Here is why. We will get through this. I want you to know this. This Easter I just chilled at home. So did you. Today I told a friend who was feeling low, I told her, this, we are in this moment. I know it is scary and depressing, but next year this will be a story. Maybe a topic of conversation on a first date. When this whole thing is over it will be, do you remember when? And we will get there. This too shall pass. Johnny Corn. Pandemics are earth cleansers. Mukesh Quatra. Social psychologists have likened the effects of COVID-19 to that of the Great World Wars, for the characteristics are all there down to the sirens and curfews. It is after all a life-altering event that has blanketed the world with uncertainty and an unfathomable restriction on personal freedoms. Astonishingly, the ambiguity shrouding this whole crisis makes it all the more difficult for the mind to adjust to. Runners can only pace themselves if they know how far the finish line is, and yet in this race our finish line is just a prediction, an educated guess. Astonishingly, be positive and stop negative thinking. And the key to stop negative thoughts in this hour of crisis of COVID-19 is to spread your love and positive energy in every direction for the well-being of the whole humanity. Amit Ray. The holy war is won with holiness. Layla Gifty Akita. For the Lord your God walks in the midst of thy camp to deliver thee, and to give up thine enemies before thee. Therefore shall thy camp be holy, that he see no unclean thing in thee and turn away from you. Deuteronomy 23:14, Layla Gayakita. What we do today, we define tomorrow. Layla Gayakita. One dares to say that only a pandemic of this scale could have slowed down the rat race, yet this too will prove beneficial to some of us, and a sheer torture to others, for the mirror that COVID-19 has forced us to look into is one that has no cracks. It reflects reality in its harshest form, and unless we truly look and come out the other side changed human beings, all this agony would have been for nothing. Astonishingly, this traumatic episode in history is proving to be one twisted psychological experiment on a massive scale, a testing whose effects on the mind will be studied for years to come, for we know that after trauma comes the post-traumatic episodes, and the world needs to be ready to help those of us who will need to be mentally supported once the worst is behind us. Astonishingly, aloneness seems to be the greatest byproduct of this invisible enemy, for whether or not a person has been infected, the condition is one of separation, a self-imposed isolation. Be it out of fear or guilt, you are expected to stop your life in its tracks and confine yourself willingly and against all natural instincts to the walls that house you. Astonishingly, a renewed and pandemic-cleansed earth will emerge, like the sun after rain. Mukesh Quatra. This virus is shrewd in its camouflage and unabashed in its cruelty. What you need to do now: protect your lungs and try not to die. Mwamanikasahu. Love is like a coronavirus. It can happen to anybody at any time. Khalid Masood. God, with a modern-day plague upon us, we ask for strength, guidance, and direction. When this is over, let us take what we have learned and make our world, your world, the more righteous place. Charles F. Glassman. If you are blessed with your health in these times, then embrace the feelings that you are faced with. Try to deal with them, for there is a blessing in every tragedy, and we must find it in order to endure. Astonishingly, we learn more in crisis than in comfort. The world is going through a period of crisis, but whether we look at it as a crisis or as an opportunity to reshape our thinking depends on us. So use this period as a lesson on how to live life with a concern for all of humankind. Abhijit Naskar. Feeling down? You know what I do. I step outside. I look at the birds, the cars, the trees, from a safe distance for everyone's sake. Soak it in. Look around. You are still here. You are healthy, and take heart. You are doing your patriotic duty staying home. You got this. Johnny Corn. Is there a wolf that plays part in the solidarity, not their socio-economic status? Mohitha Gandhi. These are not ordinary times where we play politics and juggle with the safety of the society. These are the times that demand prompt decisions and utter responsibility towards not just the self, but our kind, the humankind. Epidemic. There's a fine line between solidarity and stupidity. Which side you want to be on is entirely up to your common sense. Mohitha Gandhi. So my words of positivity. Let me be blunt. It's gonna get really bad. I know what's coming, and I wish I didn't. Why I have been advocating for people who just won't believe how bad it is gonna get. It is not political, but I am here. You are too. I am looking at you in the eye. You will be okay. Just stay home. Put your affairs in order and ride this thing out. There is a life after this for most of us. We will all be a different person than we are today, but that is okay. Know that. Experience changes us, mold us, make us who we are. You will be fine. We are stronger together. What we need right now is love. I'm that really liberal Christian. I am ordained actually. All I say, love thy neighbor. Be kind after this and love and accept love back. Don't be proud. Accept help. There is a life after this. Johnny Corn. For those who have been affected physically, emotionally, and financially by this terrible pandemic, I pray that your spirit stays strong enough so you may continue to see a dim light peeking through the darkness that will soon shine brightly again. Charles F. Glassman. The coronavirus pandemic is exactly the kind of cataclysmic event that brings about drastic changes. I think Medicare for all and UBI are now inevitable. It's either that, or complete chaos. Oliver Marcus Malloy. We are in a depression. I don't just mean economically. We are blue. It is okay to feel how you feel, but don't stay there. Think about the helpers. For example, a friend got me a mask. Another friend got me cleaning supplies. She just may have saved my life. I have a fan who is making masks to help people. She elsewhere in the universe. So it's everyone. We are stronger together. The whole world is feeling the same. So spread the love out there and accept that love in. This too shall pass. Johnny Corn. We cannot fix a sickness of the society merely with strategy. That strategy has to be followed by the responsibility of the citizens. Epidemic. A lot of you have reached out to me today actually. I also checked on people too. I am concerned. A lot of you are depressed, feeling down, want to be able to have a break from your kids or spouse. Some of you are solo right now and are lonely. Some of you have fear. Don't have fear. This too will pass, but do have some common sense. Stay home. Wash your hands. For the lonely, the safest sex you can have is no sex. But hey, you meet someone after this, you can have a topic of conversation. The apocalypse. For those needing a break from your kids, take a walk around the block, maybe a few blocks, then come back. If you can't do that, make sure they are doing their homework, and then watch stand-up comedy or listen to some music. Do something fun. Look, the whole world is having common experience. Just know you are healthy. Your loved ones are too. Be creative. It may cheer you up. I choose to have hope. Look, I know you are down, but we are all in this together. Johnny Corn. I give the government and medical profession an F for failing to prepare for a COVID-19 pandemic that they knew was coming. Stephen McGee. Most of us carry loads on ourselves that we really don't need to carry. Abhishek Ratner. Do not be a COVIDiot. Stephen McGee. Sometimes you embark on a ship and sail to the ocean. Then a terrible storm begins. The port you go to loses its meaning. The port you left loses its meaning. Now there is only one thing that matters: getting to any port. Sometimes life's purpose is reduced to one single goal: to exist. Mehmet Murat Ilden. The COVID-19 homeless epidemic is coming. Stephen McGee. Believe that God has won the battle. Layla Gayakita. Now for some positivity. People talk about the replacement to the handshake. Some say bow like they do in Japan, and others say a wave, and still others say a smile. No wrong idea. We could use a new gesture. Personally, for me, it's the peace sign. Stay strong. Look, it is going to get really, really bad. Know that. But also know that you are strong and you got this, and the new world after. It will be awesome. You'll see. Trust me. Johnny Corn. Neighborhoods are wailing in fear and desperation. If now we don't lend a hand, what's the point of us? Abhijit Naskar. Do you believe that behind every cloud is a silver lining? Because if you do, now's the time to start believing it. Charles F. Glassman. It is a good time to remind ourselves that everything begins with a thought. Abhishek Ratner. COVIDiot. Definition: a person that does not isolate during a pandemic. Stephen McGee. There is only one way to survive and thrive when faced with circumstances out of our control, and for which we are unprepared: adapt. Charles F. Glassman. Building a positive mindset is not about being effervescent and annoyingly cheerful, but making an investment in yourself and your future. Abhishek Ratner. All that we humans have achieved until now, be it our space outreach or the most advanced automation, it is due to the power of our minds. Abhishek Ratner. We will need more of mental resilience, innovation, creative thinking and social connect to overcome and thrive post the COVID-19 outbreak crisis. Abhishek Ratner. Mindset is the most important factor for success in any sports. Abhishek Ratner. Cricket is a game that lends itself very well to periods of introspection, particularly if you are a batsman and you get out early on in the innings. Then you have to just sit and watch others for a considerable amount of time. Abhishek Ratner. Mental strength will be the biggest key to success in post-COVID-19 outbreak era. Abhishek Ratner. Focus on good things, however small. Find humor in difficult situations. Fill your day with positive affirmations. Abhishek Ratner. Negative thinking and negative emotions have their importance. They sharpen your focus on dangers, threats, and vulnerabilities. This is critical for our survival. Abhishek Ratner. On the other hand, positive thinking and positive emotions broaden and build our resources and skills, and open us up to possibilities of growth and development. Abhishek Ratner. Coronavirus is a warning to the human community to stop all his culture and civilization built against nature. P.S. Jagadish Kumar. It's okay to feel down or think pessimistically sometimes, but choosing to respond with optimism, resilience, and gratitude will benefit you far more in the long run. Abhishek Ratner. Everything starts with a thought. Abhishek Ratner. Most of the thoughts are not yours but from your parents, your teachers, your friends, the books, the movies, the television, the newspapers. Abhishek Ratner. You are much more than what you think you are. Abhishek Ratner. Nature is revolting to reclaim her kingdom. If now we don't make peace with her, what's the point of us? Abhijit Naskar. Dear God, we ask that you place your healing arms around us, creating calm. Protect each person, healing those suffering from this awful virus. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Ron Baratano. Comparison. One Chinese doctor who wanted to save lives. One captain of an aircraft carrier who wanted to save lives. Two different countries, but the same authoritarian response to silence the pain of the people who care. Anthony T. Hinks. The literary universe of insight that I've created is so vast that many would end up plagiarizing my statements, and some of them would be popular public figures. But I can't despise them for that, because at the core of my ideas there is one principle: I and all humans are one. Epidemic. As everything we do in this world, be it work, business, politics or relationships, it is through humans, and we may still be successful if we understand and use the basic laws governing human nature and behavior to our advantage. Abhishek Ratner. Let's keep in mind that we are going to pass this difficult times, but most important, let's learn from this difficult time and be ready for the next one. Cause I believe we are going to have another virus which may be more dangerous than this one. So let's be ready and spend lots of money, time and effort to make our health sector ready. To those lazy, stupid and senseless leaders of the world, I want to say that because of people like you, our human race around the globe paying high price for this virus, hope you learn and invest lots of wealth on health sectors. Cause you probably heard that health is wealth, and if you did not, then now you heard and experienced. Finally, let's stop excuses and try our best to be honest with our people. Arish Tanisha. In the times of uncertainties, it is best to focus on what we can control and just drop what we can't control. Abhishek Ratner. We also must realize that we are now living in the most uncertain times of our lives. Things are changing at a very rapid pace, and we do not have much control on what is going on around us. Probably the only thing we can still control in our mind and thoughts. Abhishek Ratner. It's literally a new world now, so either we adapt to it collectively as one species, or only the privileged healthy will be left to live. And the only way to adapt to a new world is to keep working through mistakes, failures and changes, driven by a sense of community. Epidemic. A virus has neither pride nor prejudice. It's an equal opportunity infector. Khan Kijaro Nguyen. More often than not, the secret of success lies in the very basic, the very small wins. The small, consistent, and disciplined steps lead to big successes. Abhishek Ratner. COVID-19 is dividing the population into those with robust immune systems and those that have immune dysfunction. Dying alone is the reality of COVID-19. Stephen McGee. When you have faith, you never die alone. Stephen McGee. CEC. Do not touch your face. My face has never been itchier. Charles F. Glassman. COVID-19 puts people through hell before taking them to heaven. Stephen McGee. So far new viruses originate us. Thus far the nature to origin its originality. P.S. Jagadish Kumar. So far new viruses originate us. Thus far nature to origin its originality. P.S. Jagadish Kumar. In good times as well as in bad times, the basics of success remains the same. When you are caught up in the rat race and totally immersed in chasing your goals, it is highly likely that you might be missing the very basics that will define your success. Abhishek Ratner. The unprecedented COVID-19 disruptions have made these basics even more relevant and critical for success in life and at work. Abhishek Ratner. To experience a crisis is to live in a world that is momentarily up for grabs. This book will help you in preparing yourself to grab the best opportunities and thrive in the post-COVID-19 outbreak era. Abhishek Ratner. COVID-19 will have a deep and lasting impact on the world we live in. Our world will get clearly divided into two eras: pre-COVID-19 and post-COVID-19 era. Abhishek Ratner. No one knows exactly what will come, but one thing is certain: our society, government, healthcare, the economy, our lifestyles, and more will change fundamentally and forever. Abhishek Ratner. The world is in peril and security is out of the window. If now we don't be humans, what's the point of us? Humankind is in turmoil, and anxiety is running amok. If now we don't be responsible, what's the point of us? Neighborhoods are wailing in fear and desperation. If now we don't lend a hand, what's the point of us? Communities are struggling in crippling uncertainty. If now we don't break narrowness, what's the point of us? Nations are panting to sustain health and sanity. If now we don't rush to rescue, what's the point of us? Nature is revolting to reclaim her kingdom. If now we don't make peace with her, what's the point of us? Now is not the time for the rising and criticizing. Forgetting argumentation, we must stand as one people unbending. Abhijit Naskar. Thousands and thousands are dying due to coronavirus, and yet when this thing is over, the humanity will declare a victory. What victory? Fools! There is no victory for the dead people. And when it comes to the living people, everyone should have a deep sadness in their soul, not a brag of victory. Mehmet Murat Ilden. Awake and arise, my sisters and brothers, to slogan for all of humankind. We are the light and we are the might that's needed during this ominous tide. Abhijit Naskar. While there is a real urgency for caution, there is also an overwhelming urgency for calm. My greatest concern is that the driving force of this pandemic may cause those who have no signs or symptomology to develop other chronic fears, anxieties, and medical conditions. Heightened fears and anxieties will not make you feel safer. Compulsive and impulsive purchases will not protect you from the virus. It is important that you take care of your physical and mental health. Follow what your state and county are advising you to do. The sky is not falling and life will return to normal. The most prudent thing that people can do at this time is to take common sense approaches to reduce your risk of exposure. Asa Don Brown. The coronavirus disease 2019, COVID-19, has taken the world by storm. Asa Don Brown. The sky is not falling and life will return to normal. Asa Don Brown. Forgetting argumentation, we must stand as one people unbending. Abhijit Naskar. The most prudent thing that people can do at this time is to take common sense approaches to reduce your risk of exposure. Asa Don Brown. I don't wish harm on anyone, but the truth is, the curve will not flatten until those with the "it will never happen to me" mentality get sick, and see enough others with the same mentality get sick. Just saying. Charles F. Glassman. As coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic continues to spread, thousands of companies are now thankful for their successful digital transformation strategy, while many others are in great agony of not doing it correctly. Enamel Haq. If you haven't been journaling through this, now is a good time to start. One day, you and people who love and loved you and people who will never know you may want to look back to understand how you survived. Darnell Lamont Walker. Doctors and nurses are brave souls during a pandemic. Stephen McGee. The outbreak of a disease doesn't mean your life should come to a halt, and your health should suffer. You should continue exercising and eating well. Get good sleep. Use relaxation techniques and listen to the experts and healthcare providers. Michael Dowling. These are crazy times has taken on an entirely new meaning. Charles F. Glassman. Responsibility -1. Keep your own house safe and healthy, or you will be in no position to help anyone else. This is not selfish. This is survival. Charles F. Glassman. We will always find a way, and a way will always find us. Charles F. Glassman. It is indubitably an unconditional imperative that we not only stay at home to be safe, but also maintain our sanity, and, by all means, stay alive. It is the worst of times that demands extreme caution and measure, where the worst of human behaviors is likely to emerge, subverting moral decency, civility, and tolerance, to control, to divide, or worst of all, to kill or be killed from the consequent anarchic chaos and violence. Danny Caslone's Salada. Coming out of this stronger starts at home. Bond with family, eat well, exercise, meditate, pray, find ways to laugh, and connect with that which is larger than all of us. Charles F. Glassman. The pandemic is the people's examination. Moth Almanda. Let's embrace and not fear the change knocking at Earth's doors. The havoc of coronavirus pandemic is teaching us to work in a manner that is sustainable and supports life rather than threaten it. Mukesh Quatra. This is not a time to cast blame. Those who do so may be hiding behind the excuse of helping, but it is a power play and actually quite hurtful. Charles F. Glassman. The coronavirus showed us the following fact. If the money spent on churches, temples, mosques, the arms industry, and so on was spent on medical science and hospitals, humanity would be in a much safer world. Mehmet Murat Ilden. Distance means so little, when life means so much. Amit Kalantri. Saving a life just got much more important than savoring a lifestyle. Amit Kalantri. Every couple of days, Western news outlets report the latest findings, as if it was brand new information. Meanwhile, the same stuff has been published in Chinese studies weeks or even months ago. We're wasting so much valuable time reinventing the wheel. Oliver Marcus Malloy. I used to be a hugger, now I'm a social distancer. Aquana M. On one side there are cowardly prime ministers, presidents, queens, kings who lock themselves in their castles, palaces and rooms. On the other hand, there are honorable statesmen who visit hospitals after taking necessary personal precautions. Honorable politician is the person who is at the front in times of great crisis like corona pandemic. Mehmet Murat Ilden. The coronavirus quarantine may make many want to scream. Let's hope soon they'll develop a milestone vaccine. Sure, the unknown can be daunting and scary. So, for now, just continue to say those Hail Marys. Take it day by day, and it shall all be okay. Denise LaRosa. When we're really old, people in the future will interview us, because we lived through one of the biggest events in human history. Like the Spanish flu of 1918 that killed over 50 million people, or the Great Depression, or Pompeii, or the Titanic. Oliver Marcus Malloy. Let us not only clean our hands, we must purify our hearts. Leila Gayakita. Trees that start to bloom in spring despite all kinds of adverse weather conditions give mankind the following message: even if you are not physically stronger than a power that wants to destroy you, it won't destroy you as long as you are psychologically stronger than him. The power of perseverance is above everything. Mehmet Murat Ilden. In this time of the COVID-19 pandemic, be peaceful knowing that being quarantined does not necessarily mean you are COVID-19 plus VE. Being COVID-19 plus VE does not necessarily mean you will immediately die, and clearly, in the overall process of life, death is unavoidable, so relax, don't panic, be responsible, stay safe, stay at home, just be. Avis Viswanathan. It sucks to be a hugger in this world post-corona, Kwana M. Let us brace our offended solitary mindset in spite of COVID-19, as the world's finest are perpetual uncertainty. Let us brace our hearts, as the very center of our hearts is an armored supreme excellence to be victorious by an unequivocal perseverance and hope. Let us brace unconditional love, kindness, and triumph to be the masters of our own chain of destiny. Let us brace unity, and oneness to beckon for victorious war against fear, and the inherent vice of crisis at its peril. Dr. Tony Basie. While you are chilling at home during self-isolation with Netflix or YouTube, there are people across the world who have no clue how to make ends meet. So please, I beg you, each time you share this statement, make sure to donate some money, no matter how little, to those in need either personally or through a COVID relief fund. Abhijit Naskar. Social distancing not only reduces transmission of the coronavirus, but the vacating of public places also creates possible sites to set up makeshift hospitals on, and ease chronic congestion in existing medical facilities. Stuart Stafford. We shall continue to advocate an unwavering beacon of optimism for victorious battle against fear, and the inherent vice of crisis at its peril. Dr. Tony Basie. We must fervently fast to pray for all nations, to seek divine grace for all people to cope with the crisis. Leila Gayakita. God deliver the world from distress. Leila Gayakita. I have stared death in the face so many times that COVID-19 is just a blip on the radar. Stephen McGee. One thing I have seen spread faster than coronavirus: connection with family, friends, and our communities. Charles F. Glassman. The key to overcome crisis is patience, courage, self-discipline, adaptation, and alertness. Amit Ray. Every crisis demands self-discipline, patience, early adaptation, and adjustment to the changing situation. Amit Ray. I urge you not to buy my books right now. Instead, use that money to help someone in need. Philosophy can wait, but humanity cannot. Abhijit Naskar. People whistle or sing while passing near a cemetery in the darkness. The same thing is happening now. The fear of coronavirus pushes people to give morale to themselves. Mehmet Murat Ilden. What affect one's own life affect the lives of others. Leila Gayakita. Prepare to die and hope to live. Stephen McGee. We must not only keep our hands clean, let us get rid of anything that contaminate the body. The soul of spirit must be equally kept clean. Leila Gayakita. While the Senate goes on spring break during a deadly pandemic, they are telling us peasants to go back to work, because the billionaires need more billions. Oliver Marcus Malloy. COVID-19 may be the final nail in the coffin of the traditional store model, as the isolated people of the world switch to internet shopping. Stephen McGee. The ignorant hope they never get COVID-19, and the wise prepare for a possible future infection. Stephen McGee. In the midst of this catastrophe, more than looking in to find serenity, we need to look out for one another to practice humanity. Epidemic. The correct leadership here is to step up and say this is not a bailout for the American people. This is giving cash to a small group of investors and banks so that they can buy up bankrupt assets from everybody else. Dylan Ragan. Please rise to help those in need, otherwise only the privileged will get out of this catastrophe alive. Epidemic. If you have run out of lung ventilators, please give mine to someone under 40 with COVID-19. Stephen McGee. Science is an answer to our prayers. Nancy Pelosi. Big donations come with or after bigger announcements. K. Harry Kumar. Is coronavirus a divine punishment for humanity? Nonsense. So what is this? What are you? You're just a creature trying to exist. And the virus is also a creature trying to exist. All this is just about trying to survive. There is nothing divine here, nothing devilish here. Mehmet Murat Ilden. Things do not change. It is people who change to make things change. Layla Gayakita. Keep calm and shop the internet. Stephen McGee. Stay calm, stay safe and seek medical information only from trusted officials and actual healthcare experts, not from random politicians, celebrities, news channels, and religious fanatics. The new coronavirus is a previously unknown virus which can make people from all ages very, very sick, and it is more deadly for older people with pre-existing medical conditions. However, contracting COVID-19 is not a death sentence. So, maintain social distancing, and wash your hands frequently with soap and water for no less than 20 seconds, until the WHO lifts the global emergency. And above all, do not share conspiracy theories on social media, because every single share makes it difficult for health workers and other people working at the front to contain the situation. Be responsible and stay safe. Epidemic. COVID-19 is not just a medical challenge, but a spiritual challenge too. To defeat COVID, humanity need to follow the path of self-purification, compassion, non-violence, God and the nature. Amit Ray. You can revive economy, but not a corpse. Epidemic. The world will somehow manage to get rid of the coronavirus, most probably with extraordinary death tolls. But then guess what happens? The world will go back to its routine stupidities, namely the wars, supporting the dictators, voting for stupid politicians, destroying the forests, killing Earth's climate, etc. Mehmet Murat Ilden. In every crisis, the true heroism is self-discipline, patience and strong determination. Amit Ray. The coronavirus has revealed a very important fact. There are 206 countries in the world, but there are only a few first-class countries that are very successful in protecting their citizens against the virus, that behaved early and swiftly. And the remaining so-called states should be called tribes instead of the state. Mehmet Murat Ilden. Ilden. COVID-19's forcing the whole world to transition from a becoming to being. Isn't it amazing? Don't you see what's happening? The whole world has surrendered. It has been forced, in fact, to capitulate, to jump off the becoming treadmill, to being home. just being. Avis Viswanathan. We must practice social distancing and stay at home for a while, because that's the only way to stop the coronavirus from spreading. However, we must also keep in mind that not everybody is in the position to work from home, nor do they have enough savings to make ends meet without work for even a few days. So now, more than ever, is the time that we wake up the human in us and come to the rescue of those in need, by either helping such individuals in our locality personally, or by donating to a COVID-19 relief fund. We must make sure that we all have each other's back, and that we all get through this catastrophe together, without leaving anyone behind. Abhijit Naskar. Have faith that COVID-19 will never kill your spirit. Stephen McGee. In this midst of this catastrophe, more than looking in to find serenity, we need to look out for one another to practice humanity. Abhijit Naskar. Right now, the first and foremost priority of the entire humankind must be to plank the curve through self-isolation. Abhijit Naskar. COVID-19 is the biggest challenge for science, but it is the biggest exam for humanity. Our people are dying. It's not in our hands, but it's in our hands. Don't let pandemic kill humanity. Mohammed Zaki Ansari. Suicidal tendencies are likely to increase during the COVID-19 pandemic. True gold is tested by acid. By Emmanuel Ewangi. Nonetheless, the way infectious diseases have begun to come back shows that we remain caught in the web of life permanently and irretrievably, no matter how clever we are at altering what we do not like, or how successful we become at displacing other species. William H. McNeill. We must make sure that we all have each other's back, and that we all get through this catastrophe together, without leaving anyone behind. Abhijit Naskar. Religious people often talk about the perfectly created human body. What a great bullshit, and what a great fallacy. And such perfection is now almost looking for a rat hole to hide from a small virus called corona. Mehmet Murat Ilden. When things get interesting, you should get interesting. Juliana Connor. So far, studies are showing that more than half of the people infected with the coronavirus show mild or no symptoms, which means they may not even realize that they've got the virus. Yet if they continue living their life as usual, and do not stay at home, they'd keep spreading the virus among others, and those others will spread it further, and the chain will never be broken. This also means that if you have the virus, and are not aware of it, by denying self-isolation you could still be causing the death of somebody along the way, as the virus spreads radically starting from you. So, now is not the time for parties and communions. Right now the first and foremost priority of the entire humankind must be to plank the curve through self-isolation. Abhijit Naskar. In every crisis, confusion and doubt, take the higher path, the path of patience, alertness, courage, understandings and love. Fears and uncertainties are temporary. In the higher path the light of happiness comes soon. Amit Ray. I wish we changed before we had to. COVID-19 brought so many changes to the world that will benefit everyone. We needed the wake-up call. Farshad Asal. If I were in an essential job, I would be considering resigning to protect my health from COVID-19. Stephen McGee. The resiliency of the human spirit to recover and flourish over devastating adversity has been well documented. No matter how overwhelming the loss or destructive the setback, we rise. No matter how grueling this is, it's no different. We will get through this, and we will rise. Steve Mirabile, a recommendation for those who stay at home and read books due to coronavirus epidemic. In these historical days we are going through, read virus history books, supervolcano eruption books or asteroid impact books instead of romance novels, travel novels, etc. Increases in the awareness about the dangers of the universe is a very important achievement for the future of humanity. Mehmet Murat Ilden. COVID-19 is connecting people to God. Stephen McGee. You can never defeat an enemy you underestimate. Mehmet Murat Ilden. Upset that you have lost your paycheck during the COVID-19 pandemic. Welcome to the world of millions of the disabled. Stephen McGee. Resigning your job may be a better option than developing workplace COVID-19. Stephen McGee. COVID-19 is a tsunami of financial catastrophe. Stephen McGee. It took a modern pandemic to infect the collective attention of the world to remind us of our shared vulnerability and to restore humanity and kindness. Farshad Asal. We do not care much if others are sick, if nature is sick as long as it doesn't directly affect us. Coronavirus is just a wake-up call to return to our loving self, and killing each other and animals isn't loving, neither noble. Be a hero, step out of this vicious cycle, show love and compassion. Be veg. Emma Dan. The pandemic of coronavirus crises calls for not only clean personal hygiene, but purity. Layla Gifty Akita. It is a strange time, my dear. A novel virus haunts our streets. Days feel like weeks, weeks like months. We're blasted with new news every second, yes, and then no, and then yes and no, feeding our primal panic to hoard goods and leave shelves. Breadless, riceless. They tell us the pandemic makes all equal, the poor and very rich, then why are the poor poorer, and the rich profiting? It is a strange time, my dear. Army men are marching our streets. They force us to stay inside, threaten and arrest for a walk in the park. They wage small wars against us, but this battle began long ago. The elite technocrats are crowing in their Silicon Valleys as corporations grow and small businesses fold with mountains of debt the center cannot, will not, hold. It is a strange time, my dear. Mainstream media reports the world has never been safer, as they terrorize the chambers of our minds. This stress, this anxiety is killing our immunity. But we must do it all for the elderly, or so they say. When have they ever cared for our elders? When have they ever cared for our vulnerable? We go to bed dreaming of toilet paper while they dismantle the world economy. Family businesses go bust all so we can protect the people. But only the people are suffering. At the end of this, those retired will have peanuts for pensions. They are stripping us of everything whilst our eyes are fixed on our screens. And how dare we say it's a strange time, when in 7 months we'll make America great again. Carmand Kojuri. The Pandemic Sonnet. This ain't the first time you've come to haunt us. And it won't be the last either. You thought you could break the species, but all you did is bring us together. You brought the world to almost a standstill. Yet we never stood still to let inaction take over. Each one of us did the best we could, and we'll keep on doing till your traces wither. We may have our differences at times, but when trouble knocks on our door we all stand one. We may act selfish sometimes, but in catastrophe we refrain from helping no one. However, thanks for reminding us to leave wildlife alone. Otherwise all we'll have left to do is mourn. Abhijit Naskar. Maintain social distancing, and wash your hands frequently with soap and water, until the WHO lifts the global emergency. And above all, do not share conspiracy theories on social media, because every single share makes it difficult for health workers and other people working at the front to contain the situation. Epidemic. One disaster makes you forget another disaster, then a much bigger disaster comes and makes you forget all the other disasters. This universe works like this. If your move is smarter than the move of the universe, only then you be safe. We must have the confidence that the circumstance will change. Layla Gayakita. COVID-19 created social distance and united hearts. It shook people up to see what matters most in life, and reminded us that God is still in control. Farshad Asal. Do not allow this day to pass as an ordinary day, a day that you forget you ever had because it's similar to the day before, and the day before that. During this compulsory free time, tune into your inner intelligence, wisdom and guidance to become more motivated, focused and ultimately happier. Believe me, these days can give you a complete new direction and purpose. Let you plunge into your inner darkness to discover hidden gems, buried treasures, more of your huge potential and extraordinary capabilities. Let you use these days to learn more about the things you are passionate about and have abilities to do. Let you also use these days in building yourself more healthy, fit and strong. Your mental, physical and spiritual wellness was always so important. Let you prioritize it now. No more of that if I will do when I have some free time shit. You have plenty of it now. Let you create better paths and opportunities for yourself. Let you encourage and push yourself to use your time more wisely now than ever before. Stay hopeful and keep loving your life and your world. Rajesh Goyal. People who always feel great sadness for not living in the extraordinary times of history are now upset that they obtained the opportunity to experience one of the extraordinary days of history with the coronavirus. When the scary face of truth appears, romantic thoughts disappear. Remember, ordinary days are the best days. Mehmet Murat Ilden. The COVID-19 pandemic is life's way of slowing us all down. So, let us take a reflective pause and focus on taking care of ourselves and each other. As it is with most inscrutable situations in life, there is no other way to deal with this crisis. Going with the flow is Teachy way. Avis Viswanathan. God required all humankind to repent of evil, cry out to him for help, return to true God, forsake wrongdoing, walk in the right path, to pray and fast for deliverance. Layla Gayakita. Well, it's currently headed by a guy called Teros from Ethiopia, who was a Politburo member in a Marxist gov that's been running Ethiopia for a long time. He was health minister and was exposed 3 times for covering up cholera epidemics in Ethiopia. You will understand if I don't agree or even believe a word that comes out of his mouth. David Icke. How much has the USA spent on fighting terrorism? And how much have they spent on fighting COVID-19? Stephen McGee. No matter how slim a needle may look, a fowl can never confuse it for a worm. By Emmanuel Ewangi. Nowadays is too easy to put a foot wrong, and it seems that's my specialty. Recently some got uncomfortable about how I perceive our current situation. What they don't know is that in order to appreciate life you need to contemplate death. Because death is one of the only certain things in our lives. But we rarely talk or even think about it. We are largely shielded from the reality of death until it affects us. And often, when we do get round to thinking about death, it is with a sense of fear, panic or denial. Guessing not many are able to think about death in a wise way or a critical life skill, as it could enable us to live fuller, better lives. Efforts Cyborg. Humanity needs divine help to combat this crisis. Layla Gayakita. We must have the confidence that the circumstance will change. Layla Giftiakita. The crisis calls for a state of calmness. Layla Gayakita. Keep calm in crises. Layla Gayakita. I am not worried about COVID-19. I am worried about those who refuse to change because of it. Farshad Asl. For me, the legacy of COVID-19 will be that it was a much-needed wake-up call to effectuate change. It's a forced overhaul of our current standards, norms, and expectations that collectively failed humanity. This pandemic could become a positive global genesis for a fundamentally better way to live and serve others. Farshad Asl. A pandemic will lead to permanent social, economic, and cultural changes. The key is to create good from a bad situation. Wayne Gerard Troman. The young are the silent carriers of COVID-19, and the older generation are the victims. Stephen McGee. Have we forgotten we are human beings? Layla Gayakita. With death itself in the streets, I turneth hence from the brothred of man, and seeketh deliverance in distraction. Stuart Stafford. With death itself in the streets, I entombed myself from the brothred of man to seeketh deliverance in distraction. Stuart Stafford. Being human is more significant than being a vegetarian or non-vegetarian, because you shall be a positive victim of coronavirus despite your meat is from a vegetarian or non-vegetarian animal. P.S. Jagadish Kumar. Stay calm, stay safe and seek medical information only from trusted officials and actual healthcare experts. Abhijit Naskar. In times of hard times, we learn something incredibly precious. The fist of the universe can hit us anywhere, anytime. Make your preparation before the universe attacks you. In this universe, those who anticipate the thoughts and actions of the universe beforehand will survive. Mehmet Murat Ilden. Social distancing can create anxiety, loneliness, and depression. A sovereign being views solitude as time to sand the rust off your vehicle, regrout your shower, rake the leaves, or renovate yourself. Solitude is meditation in motion. Deborah Bravant. Coronavirus not only harms the body, however, it also damages the financial strength and social life, even that abandons shaking hands each other in medical circles. Indeed, it is an evil virus challenge. Essen Segal. Our greatest weapon against the difficult times we are facing in this universe is our ability to hope. And with hope, we will be able to cope with anything possible. Mehmet Murat Ilden. The universe is bringing our dreams to life, but unfortunately, it is also bringing our nightmares that little bit closer as well. Anthony T. Hinks. Coronavirus needs a better name. Something badass, like the Black Plague. I'm thinking airborne AIDS. Or flying herpes. Oliver Marcus. This, today, right now, will seem like the good old days in 2 weeks. Things are about to get a hell of a lot worse. Oliver Marcus Malloy. Just the flu. COVID-19 is highly contagious pneumonia. Left untreated, pneumonia is often deadly. There are not enough hospitals to treat a pneumonia pandemic. Oliver Marcus Malloy. Most anti-science religious fundamentalist is now in charge of America's biggest science project. Oliver Marcus Malloy. The coronavirus outbreak feels like an episode of The Twilight Zone. I went to see a doctor the other day, and they told me to wear a face mask. Then they said how much it would cost to see the doctor, and I told them they were the ones who should be wearing masks. Stuart Stafford. We can make fun of the virus, but we can't make fun of the people infected by the virus. The philosopher DJ Kyos. In every crisis, doubt or confusion, take the higher path, the path of compassion, courage, understanding and love. Amit Ray. The world needs huge positive energy to fight against the negative forces. Go to the center of your inner being and generate that positive energy for the welfare of the humanity. Amit Ray. We have a chance to do something extraordinary. As we head out of this pandemic, we can change the world. Create a world of love. A world where we are kind to each other. A world where we are kind no matter what class, race, sexual orientation, what religion or lack of or what job we have. A world we don't judge those at the food bank, because that may be us if things were just slightly different. Let love and kindness be our roadmap. Johnny Corn. When the whole world is entrenched in the bunker of physical and often emotional isolation, only flexibility and ingenuity can revive us to remain grounded and imbibe the bolstering sunlight piercing through the canvas of chaos. Because the world has corona. Eric Pevenage. These so-called bleak times are necessary to go through in order to get to a much better place. David Lynch. COVID-19. Are you going to be naughty or nice to me? Stephen McGee. If COVID-19 makes you hateful towards China, remember this: when you hate a nation, you hate a people, and when you hate a people, you lose the right to be called human. Abhijit Naskar. It took less than a year from first detection of COVID-19 for it to rampage through the White House staff and the President of the USA. Stephen McGee. Do not become a victim of a lying president. Stephen McGee. It seems the medical profession neglected to inform President Trump not to engage in social media activities or make important decisions while infected with a nasty virus and under the influence of potent prescription drugs. Stephen McGee. October 2020 was by far the most interesting time of President Trump's time in office. Stephen McGee. President Trump. How is residing with the China virus working out for you? Stephen McGee. The big government lie in the early days of COVID-19. Do not wear a mask. Stephen McGee. COVID-19 is in charge of the White House. Stephen McGee. COVID-19 has elected itself as President of the USA. Stephen McGee. China virus. Mission accomplished. Stephen McGee. Experts say that the movie King Kong in 1933 released the pent-up rage of the Great Depression. Well, COVID-19 Halloween displays could do the same for our feelings about the 2020 lockdown. Stuart Stafford. President Trump, you should have taken Joe Biden's advice and faithfully wore a mask when around people. Stephen McGee. The first wave of COVID-19 infection tends to be mild. It is the second wave that happens several days later that can be fatal. Stephen McGee. COVID-19 infected President Trump is officially a COVIDiot. Stephen McGee. 1,000 dead Americans daily from COVID-19 tells me the medical profession is struggling. Stephen McGee. It is hard to watch the government's incompetence with COVID-19. Stephen McGee. You know, girls, I was wondering how the end of the world will be. NLA. But someday soon, things will open up, get back to normal. Kids around the world will be free again. Then you will see all of your friends, your family, and everyone. Someday soon. Ari Gunsberg. Even the tiniest chunk of code, like coronavirus or COVID-19, may cause a major disruptive impact on the global operating system, something that was suddenly revealed to the public awareness in early 2020. COVID-19 takes you to insanity and back. Stephen McGee. Everywhere you look daily, the number of patients with COVID-19 diseases is on the rise. Yet the government is lifting the lockdown and some restrictions. So now everything has to be done with more care. Srinivas Mishra. COVID-19 makes people go crazy and leaves some of its survivors with the gift of mental illness. Stephen McGee. Humanity, love and kindness is the class of 2020. Ram Bahadur Gale. Some of the greatest discoveries are occurring during the COVID-19 pandemic. Stephen McGee. Misinformation is a virus unto itself. Misinformation is a virus unto itself. Brianna Keeler. We were fortunate when the COVID-19 pandemic hit that internet shopping had matured. Stephen McGee. I'm coronavirus brave. I miss my grandparents, my friends, my teachers, the playground, the fence. But I know we strive all day and night, and together, united, we'll be all right. Ari Gunsberg. While the world has been on COVID-19 lockdown, good things have been happening in the background that will eventually be revealed. Stephen McGee. For who listens to headlines, who watches the news, and thinks that things spoken could happen to you. Nathaniel Luscombe. When I look outside, I feel nothing. When I look inside, I feel nothing. Lockdown of emotions. Completely blank. It's black everywhere. Suffocating, claustrophobic, saturation point is crossed. Yet, my happiness is due. I will live for that. Soumya Kedia. Here is a COVID-19 commandment. Great love has no one than this, to lay on one's couch without friends. Jamie Arpinricky. Here is a COVID-19 commandment. Greater love has no one than this, to lay on one's couch without friends. Jamie Arpinricky. COVID-19 devours you from the inside. Stephen McGee. The number of infections kept rising. By the end of March, the US led the world in infections and deaths caused by the virus. What does Trump do? He refuses to wear a mask. He's not going to look like a weakling. Testing, overrated. It increases the number of infections. Why doesn't the country have enough PE and ventilators? Obama's fault. The president is in charge, but if there's any failure, it's the fault of governors and mayors. He keeps repeating his mantra, the situation is under control. Pence's team will whip the virus. Or was it Jared's team? This virus isn't as bad as the flu. America always wins. Doesn't matter who or what the enemy is, we always triumph. We're going to kill that little bug. Those people wearing masks are doing it to spite me. Donald J. Trump, the greatest president in history. The situation is under control, but the deaths keep mounting. It surpasses annual deaths from auto accidents, 34,000. It surpasses US deaths in the Vietnam War, 58,000. Next, it's going to surpass total deaths of US soldiers in World War I, 116,500. And it's not going to stop there. Jeffrey Rasley. I'm coronavirus brave. I stand tall and proud, with my mask on my face, staying away from the crowd. Ari Gunsberg. We don't study nature, nature studies us. Stop triggering nature. Learn from corona catastrophe. Somyakedia. We are all in this pandemic together. Stephen McGee. Circadian rhythm disorder was a health risk during the COVID-19 lockdown. Stephen McGee. Doctor, I am not sick. I just lost my motions. Vinit Raj Kapoor. How did we get from 6 degrees of separation to 6 feet? Fernando Pessoa. A different answer for each family. Talk about things. Be safe and free. With COVID-19, I believe it's God's way of telling us only humans can save humans with humanity. Somyakedia. I'd like us to rethink what it is to be a nation. I'm in a mood about America. Today, Jericho Brown. No one gets fridge magnets for the travel this summer. Because this season we have gone too far. And for all the trips you make inwards, there are no souvenirs and no postcards. Jasleen Korgummer. Many people in the community are so scared of the COVID-19 that they have lost trust in each other. But it is the people's war against coronavirus only, not in between themselves. Saving lives and reviving livelihoods should be the priorities of society. Srinivas Mishra. You don't need 2020 vision to see that 2020 is a giant kaka burrito getting forced down our throats. Stuart Stafford. It's extraordinary how many people have a post-viral syndrome that's very strikingly similar to myalgic encephalomyelitis chronic fatigue syndrome. Anthony Fauci. Since education has become a business, I had closed all the universities across the globe in the name of coronavirus until further order from you to make it as a service to reach the poorest. P.S. Jagadish Kumar. Human now exactly look like aliens on the earth with those corona spacesuit. Save nature. P.S. Jagadish Kumar. COVID-19 is a matter of life and death, in the true meaning of the term for all nations, and countering it is the global duty of all. Oscar Orlikais. I am looking forward to the day when I can become a virus and live my life peacefully. Amit Abraham. The coronavirus caused countless damages to the world, but it also created some benefits. The world is now a more mysterious, more enigmatic place with all those masked people. As if the faces disappeared, only eyes remained. As if the tongues have disappeared, only the eyes speak telepathically. We, the people of the earth, became an alien on earth. Mehmet Murat Ilden. Be negative. Positive is no more a positive word in 2020. Playing the hide and seek, the coronavirus is frequently mutating. In the same human body, reports are sometimes positive and sometimes negative. Srinivas Mishra. The world human population is almost 8 billion. Let 2 or 3 billion die out of coronavirus. Why are you howling in fear and frustration? P.S. Jagadish Kumar. How much uncivilized, illiterate, stupid and foolish the human are, to be an alien on his own planet in the name of coronavirus. Save Earth. P.S. Jagadish Kumar. One small virus is enough for me to change the world. P.S. Jagadish Kumar. Among all the viruses on the earth, the more hazardous virus is human than the coronavirus. P.S. Jagadish Kumar. Among all the viruses on the earth, the more vulnerable virus is human than the coronavirus. P.S. Jagadish Kumar. Due to the battle of who is the supreme power among all the nations, I had closed all your national borders in the name of coronavirus in order to achieve your inner peace. P.S. Jagadish Kumar. Viral diseases are not as contagious as rumors go viral on media. Fake news is causing more problems for the society. Srinas Mishra. Apathy is as dangerous, invisible, and contagious as an asymptomatic virus carrier. Khan Kijaro Nuyen. Now the great waves of plague is coronavirus. The current epidemic has engulfed the entire world. In the midst of all this, we should give time to our health. Yoga and meditation is a physical, mental and spiritual worldwide practices that originated in India. Yoga guarantees good health and physical fitness. In the spiritual sense, it means the union of the living soul and the divine. It will boost your immune system, which is now affecting the whole world. Yoga is to stay younger, for longer. Srinas Mishra. In Corona era, children through smart classes are brought back to school. Srinas Mishra. Most diseases show no symptoms from the start. Hate the disease, but not any patients. Srinas Mishra. 2020 was the year of aggressive policing. Life has come to a silent pause, the fear of virus, the slowdown, disconnecting me from moments. Heart has taken over the mind, light now shines upon my eyes, dreams blocked, the roads traversed. The break has broken the barrier, me pondering, was I living my life? The days are same and so is night, the sun, the moon, and the stars, still rise in the east and set in the west, trees, plants, flowers there as before, the sky, clouds, rivers and oceans, earth's precious treasures, no different, change is in my perspective and priorities. Is it that I am learning to live my life? Monotonous tedium chores, unpleasant hunger for wealth, most of us are living dead, body just awaits the soul to leave, to be buried or cremated, waste of life, and for what price, all material things cherished, useless in our last flight. Time to fall in love with my life, stop living for others, their expectations. I am again the owner of my choices, not bothered to please others, nor what they think about me. My dreams are alive and back, my treasures are now my deeds. I have finally learnt to live. Mukesh Quatra. Earth is beautiful, I'm reborn, I saw only when life paused. I now know, the rose flowers, why they come with thorns. Mukesh Quatra. The news was progressing so rapidly in 2020 that I was having a hard time keeping up with it. Stephen McGee. COVID-19 offers us a great opportunity for individual and collective recession. It is a time to go back to the drawing board and rewrite the next phase of our existence. The upcoming generation has to read about how we fought this pandemic, with or without vaccines, in order to overcome similar situations during their times. Olawale Daniel. Earth is beautiful, I'm reborn, I saw only when life paused. I now know, the rose flowers, why they comes with thorns. Mukesh Quatra. The economic crisis is also a more matter of concern, not only the coronavirus. This unexpected shock is in the Indian economy. The decline in production has affected the Indian economy will increase further. Srinas Mishra. Alien Earth Life Tale Big Buzzers Media. We can't help but smile after coronavirus, COVID-19 lockdown period, and truth will not last long. Srinas Mishra. Since there is no medicine and vaccine for corona, just keep social distance, use masks, and the only way is to wash your hands. It has a higher rate of disease resistance than mortality. It can do no harm, even if you have a virus in your body, because of the increase in energy or strong immune system. This is a message of hope and reassurance for all of us. After COVID-19 lockdown relaxation, coronavirus cases are increasing in city. Now infection in slums, is danger to the state. Srinas Mishra. Coronavirus also introduces us to a completely new world of life, to move on from our struggles and enjoy next level of life. Srinas Mishra. By June 2020, it was clear that it was going to be a once-in-a-century historic year in the USA. Stephen McGee. 1 minute silence for those who think that the current situation of COVID-19 and economy instability of Pakistan is due to their PM. Our nation badly needs to learn causality. Syed Masjad. There is currently no drug or medicine and vaccine against the coronavirus. Garlic is most effective in increasing immunity power. There has been extensive investigation of the effectiveness of it, but it is completely free of side effects and can be used regularly to reap benefits from it. Srinas Mishra. Coronavirus is the real alien to Earth. Shake your hands or wash your hands, but make it fast. P.S. Jagadish Kumar. Close all your doors including the doors of your temple, and do research to fight coronavirus. P.S. Jagadish Kumar. The great pandemic has come like a paroxysm to our society to break the bond of amity. The world 1 year before was the place where every people could experience joy divina with gargantuan ecstasy. But the world today is the place where many valetudinarians are residing with poignancy. Rakik Raihan. Almost everyone is bored at home in lockdown. Almost everyone wants to get back to work soon or starts their own business again. Srinas Mishra. The past is past, the present is paused, and the future will be well played. Srinas Mishra. We have all just gone through over 110 days of dark despair and tribulation that Earth has not seen in many years. We have all lost loved ones and dealt with illnesses we never knew existed. But it takes incredibly strong people to be able to stand again and still be able to smile through all their heartbreaking situations. Bravo, I applaud you. Timothy Pina. The lockdown has been a long haul in the battle against coronavirus, but the migrants are suffering from the worst, hitting the hardest. It is very painful and hidden. Srinas Mishra. The development of space was followed by mutant viruses and a global pandemic. Stephen McGee. Bless your Memorial Day. Today, we salute and pledge our never-ending appreciation to the men and women who made the ultimate sacrifice protecting our freedoms and defending our nation, and to the many frontline workers who have lost their lives fighting COVID-19. Today, our hearts belong to all of you. Ron Baratano. Plan to retire in ill health and hope to retire in good health. Stephen McGee. In the Indian environment, the coronavirus does not spread from one person to another, meaning that the COVID-19 virus is dormant in Indian society. Srinas Mishra. You have the freedom not to isolate and to possibly contract fatal COVID-19 in the USA. Stephen McGee. COVID-19 has swept through 75% of nursing homes in Stockholm, Sweden. Stephen McGee. In the middle of a nationwide coronavirus lockdown, forces the migrants to get on with it without any choice and stay far away from home and safe. Srinas Mishra. The You Say I Am Familiar With is ran by scallywags. Stephen McGee. Fear is one of the most powerful negative emotions with the slowest, lowest, most dense vibratory field there is. Anyone with low vibrational energy can be led through fear. Ivy Gilbert. The most common human affliction is that we create our own jail cells and then forget where we put the key. We become like robots. unyielding in our thinking and settled within the confines of our learned belief system. We become not the free spirit of the universe with endless possibilities that we are, but the followers of man, led like sheep to believe and see only what man wants us to see and believe. We can live like this, or we can open our eyes, remember who we are, and unlock ourselves. Ivy Gilbert. It is better to get stuck in life than to get stuck in a devilish relationship. The coronavirus. P.S. Jagadish Kumar. A demon is not my personal revenge. He is a social evil to be killed. The coronavirus. P.S. Jagadish Kumar. Birds and animals are dying of starvation. Be grateful and happy by providing food and water to stray birds and animals. Srinas Mishra. You are the greatest hidden treasure. Express and share your true feeling, the heart-touching love without ever touching. Srinas Mishra. Go beyond reality through insanity. It is your legal right to pursue the closure of the biologically toxic space industry that is harming over 7 billion people on planet Earth. Stephen McGee. The same people who refuse to wear masks and claim it's all just a hoax also claim that China hid how deadly the virus is. Those two thoughts clearly contradict each other, but somehow they are too brainwashed to notice. Oliver Marcus Malloy. Complex problems often have simple solutions. Stephen McGee. Freedom is active, feel free life. Freedom is power. We never know how strong and powerful it is until it's in quarantine. Srinas Mishra. COVID-19 is the greatest social challenge in a century. Stephen McGee. Hang in there, as better times are ahead. Stephen McGee. Are you living an existence, or are you living a life? Stephen McGee. There are many forms of electromagnetic radiation that should never have been deployed on a global population. Stephen McGee. Your government is irradiating you with biologically toxic electromagnetic radiation. Stephen McGee. What's normal with COVID-19? Nothing. Anthony T. Hinks. Every day our beliefs, happiness and fears reinvent themselves to satisfy our tastes, liking and borrowed influenced thoughts and fears from other people. I guess we all have a choice to spend countless words and hours in justifying our feelings about misfortune, or stop believing it's the end of the road. Remember, a road never ends. It bends, takes back to the beginning, or leads to the bumpy patch at the side, which too most of the times leads somewhere. Rising above fate or unfortunate events makes heroes of ordinary people. This is the chance to be a hero by thinking and working positively. Remember, whatever is happening was not our choice, but now we can choose hope and happiness over worries. Shahensha Hafiz Khan. I survived dinner at the Covidians. Anthony T. Hinks. Hello COVID. Goodbye normality. Anthony T. Hinks. Hyperconnected is used in the context of the internet. COVID-19 shows we are hyperconnected in the physical world. COVID-19 is a wake-up call for the world to realize how dependent we are on each other. There will always be winners, but life doesn't need to be a zero-sum game. Tom Galway. We are not all in the same boat. We are in the same storm. Some of us are on super yachts. Some of us have just the one or. Damien Barr. People are receiving billions and millions of dollars during the COVID-19 pandemic, and it is an opportunity to them to take advantage. But I realized that people forgot that the COVID-19 pandemic will end soon, and they must be prepared for something more tragic than the COVID-19 pandemic. Worley Nautrius. I, Corona, speaking the sonnet. Nature has been crying. yet you paid no heed. Glacier have been frying, yet you kept sleeping in greed. Forests kept on burning, yet your eyes shed no tear. Hurricanes kept on brewing, yet your luxuries didn't disappear. Hence my arrival, not to punish you, but only to give a wake-up call. I haven't come to lock you up, but only to expose your downfall. Now you know the horrors you committed. I plea, O wise ones, life illuminated. Epidemic. To stay safe is to save lives. Helen Munson. The holy trinity of tackling a crisis is unity, faith and sacrifice. We must stay united as humans above all else. We must have faith in ourselves and in each other, and we must sacrifice our self-obsession. Epidemic. God and His Word are the reality we need, are the rock under our feet. John Piper. Adopt a neighborhood, make the problems of that neighborhood your own problems, and be the solution yourself, and eventually all catastrophe will turn powerless. Epidemic. In other words, physical evil is a parable, a drama, a signpost pointing to the moral outrage of rebellion against God. John Piper. Physical pain is God's trumpet blast to tell us that something is dreadfully wrong in the world. John Piper. COVIDians. As we wake from isolation, we will leave the past behind us, and we will all become one. Anthony T. Hinks. COVIDians go out into the universe to promote life, not destroy it. Anthony T. Hinks. I was born in the year 2020, the year that COVID-19 ravaged the world and united us as one. Anthony T. Hinks. Death too is just a number. In these COVID times, a score times when you become numb, desensitized, having seen so much, another death fails to move or have any impact. It is just a number, a nupcocker. The world is unstable and feeble with insecurity. We must be its strength, offering our soul as stability. Epidemic. The future is now our past, but the past doesn't have to be our future. Richie Norton. You didn't peak pre-corona. Your best days are still ahead. Richie Norton. COVID-19 has made shaking hands a fond memory of the past. Stephen McGee. Catastrophe reveals character. Epidemic. Behind the mask beats a loving heart, willing to save others. Helen Munson. During lockdown, we are surely locked but not down. Stay inspired. Dr. Prem Jagyasi. O coronavirus, I wash my hands off you. Tilden Kwachakwu Ogbuegu. Sending you all a loving hug. Just don't forget me. The memories are still fresh. I so wish with you to be. We might be a distance apart, living amidst a crisis. The happy vibes of recent past, in this desert are an oasis. Don't ever let thy hopes fade. Look up at the sky, a healthy hue. One thing I promise my friends, my heart will always be with you. The giggles and the friendly jabs, those loud laughs over food and wine, they are my antidotes in need. Even the virus wonders how am I fine. I am just waiting for to meet again. Life will bring back that time. Song of heart I cannot sing, but the words are there to rhyme. Nature knows how to correct us. Earth is saying, remember me. Sending you all a loving hug. Just don't forget me. Mukesh Quatra. It is not lost on me that these are hard times. Worse times ahead. But there will be a better day. A day of love. A time of peace. A time of new beginnings. Hope. A world better than the spot of bother we are in now. Know that we do have a better tomorrow ahead. Johnny Corn. Coronavirus lockdown is like forcing siesta on very active children on a fun day. Nkwachukwu Ogbuegu. My prayer for you is that each day brings you renewed strength, brighter spirits, calm mental health, and physical healing. Charles F. Glassman. This disease is no joke, to be made light of, but a terrible calamity. John M. Barry.